Alright, so welcome back again. So in the previous tutorial, we saw how to implement from scratch a map function and then a filter function. Now let's move on to the next one of the higher order function, which is very important, which is the reduce, right? So with reduce, we have a sequence. We're applying a function, and then it's going to return just a single cumulative value. So the idea behind reduce is that it's going to pick the actual and then apply the function to it, and then now assign it to the current, and then it moves on like that in that particular option. So it's going to, if you have two, right, these three values, so apply the function to this, the result of the function and one is going to be assigned, and then that one is going to be the next one, right? And then like that. So this to this, you get the value, that particular value, and this, the particular value, and this, and then it's going to return one single cumulative value. So the sum and then min and max are mostly using reduce. So let's see how to implement it from scratch in Go. So I'll go back again to where we were. So this is the old one that we were working on, or the other ones, and then I'm going to write another function for that. So let's call it as implement. So implement reduce function. So how do we do that? So we're going to go back again, just give some space. So it's going to be the function, then like I call it as my reduce, yeah, and then this my reduce, though the naming is funny how I'm calling it my reduce, and then it's going to take in, let's use the generics as we did earlier on. So T for generic, so we need to convert this entire stuff into a generic function, T for generic, and then we want to accept any value. So V any, it can be interface as we learned earlier on, and this takes in a sequence which is going to be T, right, for the generic that we have, and then we have the custom function which we are applying. So the function takes in the value and then of a type T, generic type, then V, then a return type, and we also need an initial value because we need to have an initial value that we are going to be starting with, otherwise it's going to give us an error, right? The initial value of V, perfect. And then the return type for this entire stuff is going to be V. Then we need to write our function. So we have a generic function. This is making it generic. It takes in a sequence. We apply a function to it, and this function is going to take in two values, the first initial value and the other, and then it's going to return some stuff, right? So this function returns this, and then we also need an initial value for that particular function, and then we also going to return the value itself. So let's start with this. So let's go to the actual value, which is going to be equal to initial value. Then we can say that this, so for underscore V in range, of my sequence, then I'm going to get the actual value, then I'm going to assign the function actual value and then V, right? So let's make it simple. Instead of making this one V, let's make it I, so that you don't confuse with the capital V, I, perfect. And then I'm going to return the actual value. So that is it, right? So we have a generic function that takes in a sequence and another function with an initial value set. Then again we set the initial value, which can be 0. We're going to loop through the sequence, apply that particular function, and then whatever the result of that function, you're going to assign it to A, so that that particular value now is now A. So I can even make it more simple by printing it to fmt.println. So we can call this one as initial, right? And let's code as AC. And then I can also do current, right? Perfect. And now let's apply this. How do we work on it? So the function for my reduce is going to take in, unlike filter that takes something that returns true or false, the reduce takes in a function that takes in two values, right? So let's see how to apply it. So we can use the reduce to work on, to create, let's say, find max. So function find max value, which takes in, as I said, it takes in two values, so A and then B int, and it's going to return an integer, right? It's going to return an integer. So let's go back. So we can just use a condition which says that if A is greater than B, return A, right? Else return B, right? That is a simple function that is used to find the maximum of a value. So it's comparing them, and now I can apply this function to my work. So let's go back again and call it as, say, max values. So my reduce, the reduce takes in a sequence and then a function. So let's pass in this particular sequence which I'll be using, and we can now pass in my find max, right? And then we need to mt.println. Let's print it out. So let's put as max values. So let's save it, and now, so this find max is the function from here, and the reason it's given us is that the reduce need an initial value, right, for it to work as we specified here. So we need an initial value as a third argument for our reduce function. So we have the first, which is the sequence, the second, which is the function, and the third, which is the initial value. So now you have to go back again and specify the initial value is 0, right? Now I can just go back again, so clear, and let's run it again. And you could see from what we did is that the initial was 0 because we specified it as 0 here, and then the next one was the current was 1, then it assigned it back again. So at the beginning it is 0, that is what we have here. Then after it has added it to it, it was 1, then it became 1, 3, 10, 10, right? So out of all the values, it only automatically saw the highest value there, which was 10, and returned 10. That's why the final result was 10. So you could see how reduce is very useful to find the maximum. We can also use reduce to get the sum of a value by doing the same thing. So we can call that, say, or we can just say func. So find sum, not find sum, but you can do the same thing for min, right? I can also do the same thing, so find min, which is going to be the same function we did. And then we are going to just change it. It's the, if it's less, return A, else return B, and we can now apply the same thing we did here. So now the answer is going to be 1. So min, let me put it at the end. You can see the logic behind it. Min. Now we can now print it out. So let's run it again. You can see that 0, 0, 0, right? It automatically found it that 0 was the minimum value, which is quite funny, right? Yeah, there's nothing less than 0. Let's set the initial value as 1. Let's see, and let's take out 1 from here, and this is going to return 1, right? Because we specified it to be 0, right? Perfect. You can also make it better, so that is going to be an assignment for you. Let's see how to use it for calculating maximum. So to calculate max, or to calculate not maximum but to calculate sum, you can just do it the same thing. So sum going to be my reduce, then I'm going to pass in my sequence that we had. I want to sum all of these values together, and then I can now pass in the function, and this function is going to take in 2 values. So it takes in a and then b, which are int, and then it's going to return a plus b, right? The return type of this must be an integer. So there's another way we can do it, right? If it's failing, don't worry, we will just fix it. So a and b, right? So there's going to be a and b, then it's going to return int. Now I need to print it out, so fmt.println, then sum. So let's ensure that everything is working. So we have to bring the initial value. Let's run it again. Now instead we have 33, right? Very cool. You could see how it summed 0, 3, 3 plus 0 is 3, 3 plus 3, and it was 5, 5 plus 5, 15. I'm surprised we assigned all of them and it gave us 33. That is how to work with reduce. So reduce can be used for many things, right? So the idea behind reduce, as we saw in our diagram, was that with reduce we have a sequence and we are trying to reduce it to a singular value. So it can be used for sum, can be used to find min, max, and then it can be used to find any and the rest, right? So thank you for watching the tutorial. See you another time. Let me know your opinion about it. We are all learning Go, so yeah, so some of the delivery may be something, but I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. See you another time. Stay blessed.